Okay, so welcome to everybody who's going to be running a workshop or exercise through this retreat in January. So we wanted to have something where it was a live opportunity for people to ask questions if they wanted to. It is being recorded, so this, if you're not live, obviously you're going to receive this recording, and if you have any further questions, you can get hold of any one of us in between. So we thought it'd be useful to have sort of a question and answer opportunity, because if there are things that you're sort of wondering about, want to know more about, then feel free to ask. I have had a couple of questions which are more general. But then we've now got an opportunity that we can talk to each person, so Nadine, Mark, and Tanya, about what they are going to be doing and how they can sort of help us understand more about any transformation, anything that is relevant to do with what they're doing. And then Joe is going to talk about technical aspects of where the retreat is, accommodation, the booking side of things, anything like that. Joe is on hand and is looking at the chat as well if anyone wants to look at the chat. So a question that came up is, what if I don't, want to join in with all the activities? So that's quite understandable because there's a lot going on in 2 days, and sometimes we can feel a bit overwhelmed with so much going on. So we of making this that one group exercise goes into another, but they are not linked together. So that if you felt like you didn't want to do one of the activities, it's absolutely fine. This is a retreat that we've made that is really encompassing lots of areas of mindset work, of building confidence from the inside, but also in terms of tuning into your body, breath work in order to help yourself know how you're feeling and being able to express that, using your body to help you find your energy and balancing those aspects within yourself. So knowing yourself a little bit better from the mind and also the body. But we are also really well versed in group work in different ways, and we are going to support you along the way. So at no point are you going to be under any pressure. So I suppose, let me ask each of you, Mark, Tanya, and Nadine, your views on that. So who wants to go first? Nadine, do you want to go first with that, sort
Yeah,
of helping people
no,
feel comfortable enough to say yes or no to different
yeah,
parts of the
yes.
group work?
I'm very happy to answer that one. I feel that it's really important that people just join in when they want and are able to take out. And as you know, I'm going to be there all of Saturday. And that's one of the things that I'm going to support you with, isn't it? The fact if anyone wants a quiet moment, sometimes people want to leave a group and maybe have a one-to-one and talk something through. Emotions come up when we do this transformational work. And I know myself when I've been on retreats and days where I've been involved in activities, sometimes I just feel I want a bit of space. I might have a question that I don't want to disturb the whole group with, but it's nice to have one person that I can maybe give a nod to and have that one-to-one, sometimes only for a few minutes. It doesn't need to be long, but it's nice to know that you can just join in or not. And I know you've talked about some of the physical activities and people are concerned about whether they're capable or not. And I know Tanya and Mark are going to talk about that a bit more. But so far as what I'll be doing, which is really meditation and either standing still or sitting, it'll be quite simple. Again, people can join in or not, how they want to. So it's really lovely that we have that option, isn't it?
Yeah,
To just
yeah.
do what we want, and there'll be space, won't there, to people to move around and do exactly what they want to do, because that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yes, thank you, Nadine. Yes, maybe Mark, you can answer if, we talked, didn't we? And we shared the Kijong. I always say it wrong, so you're gonna Kijong. But
Qigong.
if it can be overwhelming if you've never done anything like that before. It can feel quite overwhelming, maybe when you're just getting in contact with your body, and you might be so used to avoiding the feelings in your body that actually being in touch with that might be a little bit overwhelming. So how do we manage that? If someone sort of says, I don't want to, it's too much, I want to stop. How do we manage that?
Hopefully they won't say I want to stop, but if they do, we'll deal with that. It's more
Yeah.
getting started. So
Ah,
like anything new, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. But all you're really doing is focusing on movements that the body does anyway, every day. So you were just taking time to say, I'm going to look at a movement pattern. It might be just like lifting up my hands and maybe just going a little bit further. So it's very gentle, it's very accessible. It is not like Vinyasa yoga, for example, which is high energy, will make you really hot.
mm,
A lot of work, there's a place for it, but Qigong is not that. Qigong is energy work, as I said in the little video, it's about understanding where you generate energy from in your body and then moving it around the body and helping clear blockages so you can head illness off at the pass. And most people, I think, want to do that. Most of us don't want to feel ill. So if you're feeling a bit unwell and there's an opportunity to explore a way of using your own body without any external medicine coming in to make yourself feel better, a lot of people are open to that. And the actual movements themselves are very gentle. You can do them sitting or standing. We encourage people to stand in the first instance, but sitting is perfectly acceptable as well. So, and it's very gentle. And I'm not going to be standing there saying, okay, we're going to do a 10-point form and I'm going to test you at the end. It's not that at all. It's going to
yes.
be highly guided. It's like, here are
Yes.
some movements, have a little go with it. Some of them you will like, some of them you won't like. Just take from it what you like and do that. And if you take one movement out of it and are happy doing that, that's enough.
Yeah.
Just that sort of, if you've not been used to moving for a while, if exercise is not part of your thing, then doing something like Qigong, which doesn't really feel like exercise, is a really good entryway into just getting used to movement again.
So, it's that reassurance, isn't it, that you're giving now, but also that this isn't about getting it right. This is about
No,
you exploring and sort of having an opportunity to, test that out in a really safe environment, with us
absolutely.
all. Absolutely
10% of Qigong is the form. The rest is breath and meditation.
lovely.
And
So
there's no right or wrong.
yeah, really fits
Okay.
in with what we're doing, which is brilliant. And Tanya, for yourself, thanks, Mark. For yourself, you're going to be doing yoga on the Sunday, aren't you? And again, that's what we were talked about in our sort of discussion together. It's not pretzel yoga, so it's not like the really high energy sort of yoga. It's much more about just finding that connection. But again, if people felt that they didn't want to join in or were having, wondering about it or not quite sure, how do you manage that? How do you help people in that?
I think very much what Nadine and Mark have said. The type of yoga that I teach is definitely not vinyasa. My vinyasa days are over. I teach a sort of a mindful yoga, which incorporates some of Thich Nhat Hanh's 10 mindful movements. So again, they're very, very simple movements that we'll use to warm up. They're just very gentle yoga postures. And we will be doing some breathing and some meditation. And if people don't want to join in with that, I think one of the things that popped into my head when both Mark and Nadine were talking was that if people brought journals with them, they could, if they didn't want to participate in any session, they could find somewhere quiet and sit and journal about the sessions they have already participated in, and maybe some of the stuff that's coming up for them. Maybe they want to set some intentions. Maybe they want to write down some affirmations. So again, my yoga class will be very easy and slow, and it's designed to calm the nervous system down as opposed to ramp it up, which other
Great.
styles of yoga would do. But if they don't want to do it completely, then there's other activities I'm sure they can find to do which are completely different, and they can reflect on their weekend by
Yes.
journaling. So
It's good you say that, Tanya, because in my first workshop at the beginning of the day, I am bringing it along journals for everybody. So everyone will have their own journal to help them in this journey over the weekend to explore and understand any reservations, but also, you know, what
yeah,
what you're learning about yourself and understanding more fully. So yes, that would fit in perfectly in terms of if, that sense of I'm not sure whether I need a bit of space out. There's been a lot that's coming up and I need some time, then the journaling is there. And of course, you're there with me on the whole of the second day to help just, in supporting anybody who's feeling, I just need a bit of space. I want to, have a bit of time out. And I'm there, in the times when you, Mark, or Nadina are doing your workshops, I'm there as well as a supportive role. And then you're there for me when I'm doing my workshop as well. But yes, the journaling is really integral, I think, in terms of when we write things down, we actually help sort of sort out our thoughts in a way that we can't do when they're just buzzing around in our head. It helps us. There's research as well that really says that we have to slow everything down to write it down, and the process of writing helps us see it from a different perspective almost. So journaling is, the research is saying fundamentally that it's so helpful for us in, on top of the workshops themselves.
I think the practices that everyone are going to experience when they come to the retreat will be moving. There'll be a lot of energy being moved, and you're being surrounded by a lot of other people who, energy is moving for them as well. So I think for some people it could become quite emotional, and that's where I think the journaling to sort of center yourself and ground your thoughts and feelings, I think, will be really helpful.
Really, really helpful. Okay, so in terms of questions, if anyone wishes to, if has a sort of question, I know there's some people live here online. If you have any questions, you can either say them out loud or put them in the chat right now if you want to. But what I thought would be useful is for Jo just to speak, doesn't want to come on camera, and that's fine, to just speak about the venue itself and any questions that have come up or may come up around the booking process, or how rooms are allocated, which is a question that has come up as well in terms of the practical issues, and anything along those lines. So Jo, just a few words if there's anything that people have asked you in the last couple of months around those sorts of aspects practically. Is anything?
Yep. So everybody will have their own bedroom, exclusive use, and there's beautiful sleigh beds. They're so comfortable. The rooms are amazing. Ensuite bathrooms on all of them, so no sharing. With regards to payment, they have two options. You can either book directly through Eventbrite, or because we've still got a couple of weeks left of the early bird ticket option, we can do a £50 deposit and then you can pay in 2 installments. That's absolutely fine to help you budget. Just let me know. That's via the email, or you can message us on the retreat page. So please don't worry, we can sort everything out for you, because we know, it's coming up for Christmas. So if you want to say to somebody what you want for Christmas is a beautiful 2-day retreat that they can treat you to, then please do let people know that they can purchase this for you. We can easily sort out vouchers so that can be sorted. The hotel itself is easy to get to on the A21. It's got free parking. You've got dinner on the first day. There's lunches on both days, breakfast on the second day, refreshments throughout the whole of the 2 days. So please don't think that we're going to starve you or not feed you or refresh you. We will be helping you to find yourself and to get your confidence back at this retreat. And the workshop practitioners are absolutely brilliant. It will start off on arrival on that Saturday with a welcome tea and coffee and some pastries, and then there'll be a itinerary that will be emailed to everybody who's booked just beforehand, so you'll know exactly what workshops you'll be taking part in, or if you, as you heard some of them say, if you wanted to miss out some, that's absolutely fine. You can go and journal, or you can go for a walk around the grounds. You'll also be given some little treats throughout the weekend as well. So it's definitely worth messaging us, myself or Carrie, and we can put anything in writing for you as well. So if it's a bit overwhelming, we can put that all into a little email for you. So if there's any questions that you can think of now and you want to message us or put in the chat and I haven't covered, let me know. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Jo. Thank you very much. Before we leave, so we've got a little bit of time. So I can see something's coming up in the chat. Oh, Nadine. Okay. Is it back-to-back workshops, or are there going to be gaps in between? So there will be gaps in between of about 20 minutes between each workshop. So it's not going to be directly from one thing into another. There is at least 20 minutes in between. Mark, even between your two, because Mark's doing the Kijong and then he's doing the sound bath, there will be a gap in between because you've got to set up and you've got to, move between them. So there will be gaps. Yes, for sure, because otherwise it's going to feel like there's no space for me in that. So in the last sort of 10 minutes, what I thought would be really helpful, because when we did the a recent poll, it looked like, what people want from a retreat is that idea of change, of something, moving from coming in maybe in a sort of position of feeling quite tight, not really feeling comfortable or confident in yourself in certain ways, wanting to have some space to explore a change or a challenge that's going on in your life. So this came up as, the transformation was something that people are really looking for when they're thinking about joining a retreat like ours. So I thought, because we've got a little bit of time, I thought we might have some time. It'd be helpful just to explore that with each that. Oh, Yvette, have you got your hand up for a question? Would you like to ask a question before we gabble on? Is that... Do you want to ask anything?
Hi.
Hi,
Everyone.
Yvette.
Hi. Yeah, sorry, I was just listening intently. I wasn't kind of bored or anything.
Okay.
If I was coming to the retreat, I'd be coming from Bexhill, because it starts at 9. I don't drive. So I was just thinking, well, how could I get there? Would I have to stay overnight the night before?
Okay.
I don't know if you get a train to get there for 9, and then they'd be getting to the venue. It's like practicalities. I've got young onset Parkinson's as well. So you've answered a lot of the questions that I had about having a break.
Yes.
Because for me, things are a little bit unpredictable, but I have a long history of yoga practice, mindfulness, IFS, that kind of, self-development work.
Yes.
So I'm okay with all that, but it's just practicalities of probably getting there.
Right. I mean, off the top of my head, it's not that far. So, but it would be a train journey to Battle and maybe a taxi from there. That would definitely get you. That would probably be cheaper than staying overnight, but there's probably movement. It would be talking to Jo. So Jo could then talk to the owner, who's also called Jo, to sort of see there may be a deal to be had if you want to stay overnight beforehand. Jo, would that be a possibility?
Yeah, definitely. I'm seeing Jo actually on Sunday, so it's a question that I can ask him, and to make sure that there's availability for rooms, and then we can let Yvonne know, or Yvette, sorry. We can know the situation at the weekend. That's not a problem at all. I'm sure we can sort something out.
Yes. And obviously, when it comes nearer the time, we will try and facilitate the ease of that to make that non-stressful as possible. And Jo has got one of those very practical problem-solving brains, so would really work with you to make that easy, as easy as possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to recruit. I've got a few people in mind just to come with me.
Yes.
But,
that'd be fab.
Yeah. So they drive, so
right.
It might not be an issue. But if I just wanted, I've recently had a bereavement in the family, so part of me wants to just go on my own, to and I'm starting a new business in January. So this retreat sounds perfect.
Right, as a reset,
in terms
as
of,
a
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So thank you.
Okay, lovely. So there was something in my head then to respond to you with something, but I've got a bit of menopause brain and it's just popped out again. It's just gone. It might come back again, and if it does, I'll let you know. It was relevant, but I can't remember it right at this minute. So, okay, thank you, Yvette. Yes, so it does sound like, that it's a really good opportunity. It's come back to me. So Nadine has kindly done a mindful audio for anyone who signs up, and it's about letting go of guilt. But we're also thinking about if you recommend or want somebody else to come along, that I will offer a one-to-one for both of the parties to explore what you might want to find from the retreat. So it's like a additional sort of encouragement. If you did want to bring other people along, it's like a bonus, really, because it helps us, helps you. So I'm offering that. So I'm glad I remembered that, Yvette, because I knew it was relevant. Okay, so we just have a little bit of time. It would be useful just to think about what when you've done workshops before. So this is for Nadine, Mark, Tanya, that what you've really noticed has been enlightening, valuable transformations that people have shared with you that they've really experienced from, getting involved and really participating, I suppose, in those aspects. So I don't know who wants to go first. Nadine, should we go back to you and then we go back in order? Nadine, then Mark, then Tanya. Then I'll have a few words, I suppose.
That's fine. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
I find the people, whenever I've done retreats, whatever you want to call them, relaxation days, whatever, most people, what they really love is the fact that they've given themselves some time just for themselves. And that, this is what we say, like the booking, even from the point of view of I've booked it, Yvette, you're thinking about it, this whole idea of I'm going to give myself something. It's that is very, very precious and very, very special, because that's hard. And like you mentioned, Carrie, that I've got this meditation that I'm sending out to people that book to help them prepare, because there is guilt involved in that. There is this, I've booked this time, and can I be away from my family, whatever's going on in the world? That sometimes is difficult. So this is a bit of preparation so that you can sit comfortably with your decision that you've given yourself time, and you're going to really enjoy it. Because there's quite often, like you said, letting go of guilt. There's guilt as we run up to the date sometimes, and we're trying to avoid that, so that before you actually get there, you're starting the process of feeling more comfortable, feeling more relaxed, and actually letting go, like you said earlier, Carrie, the guilt. So that, as I say, just booking it, being there is sometimes the major thing, isn't it? But also I find with people, they do say after they've had an experience, and like you say, transformation, they're going to get transformation in quite a few ways, probably. They will feel that they've changed. They will feel that they've done something for themselves. They've moved emotions, like we've all talked about, and found another way. So where you've said, Yvette, if you don't mind me saying again, that you're thinking about a new business and everything, it's going to give you some tools to put into practice, and I love the fact that it's at the start of the year, because that's the time, isn't it, for, how we're going to do this next year a bit different. We will have those tools ready. So when I've done this kind of work, and especially in the start of the year, that's the kind of thing that people have said to me, great, I know what I'm doing now, I'm a bit clearer in the head. Obviously in the mind and body, getting it all moving as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be amazing, and the time of year I think is perfect.
Great, thanks Nadine, thanks. So Mark, for you, what have you noticed? Let's talk about the sound bath, I suppose. What do you notice in that transformation that people experience?
Well, gong baths are particularly helpful for transformation. I think at the end of a day where people have been doing a lot of talking and thinking, then to come to a point where you're basically absorbing sound and non-verbalizing processing. There's always someone in the room that has one of those eureka moments where something just does that. Sound is very powerful, and accepting it and not trying to do anything is also very powerful, especially when you've had this day of really quite a lot of hard work going on. I experienced it myself the first time I had a gong bath. I just felt transported to a different place, and something changed in me forever. So all I can say is that what I see over and over again is transformation through gong bath and through the power of sound. And it always surprises me how regularly it does this. It's not always comfortable, but mostly it is. The discomfort comes from resisting, often saying, oh, I don't want this. But you always have that option to remove yourself. But generally speaking, it's a fantastic end to a busy day, especially when you've been so inwardly focused and really trying to work on personal development. It will really help that process hugely. So I look forward to it.
Great, thanks, Mark. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy to be joining in alongside. And Tanya, for you, what transformation have you seen in some of it? Because you have run retreats, haven't you, many times, with children as well as adults. What are the things that you've sort of highlighted and you've noticed?
I think what people have said to me afterwards, it's just, so there's a few things. So with practicing sort of gentle yoga and some mindful movement, because people are focusing on the activity of moving their body gently and sort of stretching and bringing the breath into that as well, it gives them that space to breathe. And then they notice their breath, because often we don't realize it, but we hold our breaths. I'm sure Mark has to remind his students when they're doing Qigong, like, remember to breathe, because I think people just automatically hold their breath. So it's that space to breathe, and connection. So when I've done workshops where it's been so mothers and children doing a day workshop, or even a weekend retreat, it's that connection and taking time away from all their devices, all the distractions. It's just removing all the distraction and just being in the here and now. And that, it's so simple. It's straightforward, very simple, and it's really effective. Yeah, it's
Great.
To come away feeling human again, I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. And I suppose from my point of view, so I've run many sort of workshops. This is my first full-on sort of retreat from start to finish, morning till the following evening, all in one sort of package. But what I notice with people is that to begin with, it's really difficult to sit with some of those uncomfortable sort of thoughts in your head that have been bombarding you, criticizing you relentlessly for many years, and the awareness first of being able to see this is what's been happening, and I can change it. I think that really helps people to see that there's hope, that this is not my life, this is not how it has to be, and that sort of progression from realizing that's what's going on and then being able to make changes. And actually within a workshop, once you get that sort of light bulb moment and being able to separate yourself out and see that you are not your thoughts is really powerful. But I think the other aspect is really that connection with the mind and the body, and really embodying. So our body connects with our mind and informs our brain and makes our brain maybe scared and on alert for things. But this is why it's so important the body and the mind together. If we are calming our body, but also then we calm our mind, and visualization is really useful. And Nadine, I know you use this quite a lot as well, the visualization that then enables the body to calm down. And so those tools, when people really understand, it's not forcing yourself into something, it's the opposite. It's like that process of letting go. And for all of us, the way we work and why it's really great to have you on board is that process of just being, letting go, and enabling yourself to help heal yourself or find new directions, find other ways of managing stress in your life. So that's what I really find. And the final part is when you're with other people. So this is why I really, really value group work, is because you're not alone, that you sort of go, you think like that? I wouldn't have thought it from the outside. That's how I think sometimes. And it's that when we know we're not alone with it, that connection is what makes it so powerful. And we help each other, don't we? Always then. There's that connection. So if anyone is on the fence and really thinking about it, hopefully that's helped. And if you do have any extra questions, please let either Joe or myself know. Or you have obviously the information for Mark, Tanya, Nadine, and Elaine, who's not here today, who really is sad to have missed it. Technically, she can't get on Zoom at the moment. But please share with us if you've got any questions that help you make your mind up. We'd love to have you on board, because this is going to be powerful. It's going to be really, really fantastic at the beginning of the year, like Nadine said. So thank you. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Nadine. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Tanya, for being here today and taking this time out. Really valuable. Thank you very much. And I look forward to hopefully seeing everybody in January. The more the merrier. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.